On December 27th, 1938, Walt Disney releases Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which becomes a success, bringing Walt newfound attention to his animation studio for the advancement of animation and movies. Many were inspired by Walt's vision, including Max Fleischer, who, in a move to create an animated feature that competed with Disney's Snow White, created the most racist and tone-deaf piece of animation that could have destroyed Warner Brothers animation the second it was released. Hey everybody, it's Sean Roselle back with another video. And if you like these type of videos, do me a favor, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell for further updates that I bring onto the channel. Max Fleischer, inspired by the success of Snow White, tasked director Bob Clampett to make a film similar to Snow White, while not deliberately taken to the format of the intellectual property of Disney themselves. Clampett's inspiration for the cartoon came from seeing Duke Ellington and was inspired by having an all-black cast as well as using an all-black band to accompany the cartoon. Clampett once stated, "In 1942, during the height of anti-Japanese sentiment during World War II, I was approached in Hollywood by a cast of all-black musical off-Broadway production called Jump for Joy, while they were doing some special performances in Los Angeles. They didn't ask me why there weren't any Warner cartoons with black characters, and I didn't have a good answer for that question. So we sat down together and came up with a parody of Disney's Snow White, and Coal Black was a result. They did all the voices for that cartoon, even though Mel Blanc's contract with Warner's gave him sole voice credit for all the Warner's cartoon by then. There was nothing racist or disrespectful towards blacks intended in that film at all, nor in Tin Pan Alley Cats, which is just a parody of jazz piano great Fats Waller, who was always hamming into the camera during his musical films. Everybody, including blacks, had a good time when these cartoons first came out." The original title, So White and the Seven Dwarfs, had to be changed for fear of copyright due to sounding very similar to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so the title became Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist here, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. So one thing that I wish I could have done a little bit differently with the Song of the South video, you can actually check it out on my channel. I think it's like probably one of the top viewed videos currently. Is what I should have done is been able to break down all the little scenes about the imagery and how it was racist and how that translates to today, without getting any mixed signals about what the movie is. I'm gonna do that with this piece. We're gonna watch the cartoon in its entirety. However, I want to be able to stop, talk about certain scenes and where that imagery came from and why it's been just a normal racist situation, which ultimately resulted in how it resulted after the movie aired. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. And it's going to be almost feeling like tangents at certain points, but I assure you, all of it makes sense and it all comes together like puzzle pieces.
Well, hallelujah!
So the cartoon film opens up with the stereotypical Mammy character as seen with the minstrel bandana tied around her head, beginning to tell a story of Coal Black.
So white and the seven dwarfs, mammy.
As you see the Queen's lair, it's littered with gold, tires, sugar, and coffee, and all these items, which during World War II were items that were mostly commonly hoarded by Americans during World War II. So the imagery of hoarding these specific items was a bad sign. One note is two items on the Queen's intro scene. Eli Whitney's cotton gin, which was a double entendre on the hoarding of World War II with gin, as well as Eli Whitney's cotton gin itself, which is a machine that separated the cotton from the seeds, the very machine used during slavery that allowed cotton plantations to flourish. The razor blades behind the Queen is also an incredible piece of racial imagery, as the idea that the most violent African Americans would be armed with razor blades. That same fear of razor blades in the hands of African Americans also gave birth to the growing and still current fear of African Americans with guns and weapons. There's a lot more to this piece that we're probably going to cover in depth in a future video.
Max
So in this scene, during slavery, blacks would often cap broken and rotted teeth with gold teeth or gold fillings. So after slavery was abolished, the gold teeth was seen as a symbol of freedom for many of the black community. The dice in front of the teeth also play a part in exaggerating the stereotype of Zip Coon, as portraying blacks as careless gamblers. So let's talk about Coal Black. Coal Black is a Jezebel character, a hypersexualized contrast to the Mammy character. Seen by her deliberate drawn figure, this is to represent not only an idea that African Americans had a heightened sex drive, but the Jezebel is often used as a defense by white males when accused of rape towards black women. In fact, the Jezebel caricature is so apparent now in this scene with Murder Inc. It's shown that she received her freedom using her sexuality, indicated by the kisses on the cheeks of the killers. But let's go back to this scene. Murder Inc. has two distinct slurs that appears on the screen and double downs on both of them if you look at the prices. When Coal Black finds the dwarfs, they're miniature black men. Remember this scene. We're going to talk about this. Oh yeah, remember the razor blades that I mentioned from earlier? The evil queen uses poison on the apple and the worms leave, and take a good look at the refugee sign.
White, here's an apple and it's just for you. It's free and from a friend. Yes, sir. You mean it's a kiss? I'll give her a kiss and it won't be a dud. I'll bring her to life with my special. It didn't work. Man, what you got that makes so white think you so hot? Well, that is a military secret.
As quickly as it was aired, it was protested immediately by the NAACP, and in 1968, during an attempt to re-air the cartoon, it was protested again, yet this time by fully armed Black Panthers. And remember when I told you to remember this scene? Well, this scene itself actually gave proper cause and was fueled as propaganda to the Japanese soldiers who would see this and say that this is how Americans saw themselves, as tiny, minuscule black men. Because again, racism exists in every single country, but this was the fuel to continue war propaganda for the other side during World War II. Warner Brothers banned this cartoon completely from circulation, and much like Song of the South, will never be aired on TV or streaming services ever again. Coal Black is a glimpse of how not only normal racism had become, but how radicalized the idea of racism became to allow blacks to have a shot in the mainstream. Flory Norman, a black animator for Walt Disney, when questioned about Coal Black in 2019, said, "Considering races today, Coal Black and the Sebben Dwarfs is an animation masterpiece and meant no offense to anyone." Clampett was given a standing ovation by a predominantly black audience in the city of Oakland. But I question, with the lack of black performers and the prevention of allowing black music and black creators onto white television, was this a gesture of mocking black culture that was just accepted? Or were they intending to honor blacks during this time and didn't have a better way of conveying that? Based on the imagery, I doubt the latter. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, if you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Also, I put a link to my Patreon because these videos get demonetized almost as quickly as I upload it. So thank you so much for your time and listening and learning. But remember, educate yourselves first and foremost.